I faced a lot of opposition from my family. I battled patriarchy. My father is extremely conservative. My mother also. My brother also. I had no support at all. I said, मैं तो भाग के ऐसे बन जाऊंगी एक्ट्रेस. जाट थी ना, देख कर लो क्या कर लोगे मेरा. मैं नहीं इन लोगों से दबने वाली. और मैं एक्चुअली भाग गई घर छोड़ के. मुझे बोलते थे ये मत पहनो, शाम को अंधेरा होने के बाद घर से बाहर मत रहो. और मेरा भाई, उसको सब फ्रीडम मिलती थी. तो मुझे लगता था इतना फर्क क्यों करते हैं ये लड़का लड़की में और मुझ में, ऐसे क्यों है? And I questioned it. I've always had money because I had a lot of jewelry which I sold and financed my trip to Bombay. But more than that, it was emotional distress for me. The drama with the family and my father disapproving and saying I disown you and my mother being heartbroken. There was a lot of judgment that she's no morals, she's a fallen woman. देखो फिल्मों में कैसे कैसे सीन देती है, किस करती है, अरे तो बिकिनी पहनी है, this and that. बहुत बड़ी फिल्में मुझे नहीं मिली, बहुत से रोल्स भी मुझसे छूट गए, किसी की गर्लफ्रेंड को चला गया, किसी की भतीजी को चला गया, whatever. I didn't care. I was like, I'm not going to compromise on my morals. मुझे proposition करने से पहले वो लोग मेरे ख्याल से nervous से हो जाते थे, because the perception was also that she's bold.
And she'll give it back.
She'll give it back. इसके जो मन में आएगा ये बोल देगी. You know, she's not a very शर्मीली, डरी हुई सी लड़की नहीं है.
Today I have a guest who I'm going to introduce to you with 3 F words. No, not the one you're thinking about. Fierce, feisty and fearless. Because of the social judgment, she's battled to reach where she has. And possibly she's given power to more women out there today to raise their voices and do it without any fear. Welcoming Mallika Sherawat in conversation with me only on Bollywood Bubble. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for having me, sweetie.
I just want to dive in straight to that because as a 15-year-old child, I was a studious child, whatever, but I was a rebellious kid. Like I would argue with relatives if they were wrong, if they were, and वो बोला जाता है कि बड़ों के साथ ऐसे बात नहीं करते and all that. I think you've changed that game. Today when I see my niece, I have given her the power to actually speak, not in that way, not in a brash way, but to correct people, even if they're elder. You come from a time when that was not the case and you have battled a lot of patriarchy at home. How difficult was it at that point? Because you were powerless, right? So how difficult was it then?
You're absolutely right. And thank you for asking me that question because I faced a lot of opposition from my family. I battled patriarchy. My father is extremely conservative. My mother also. My brother also. I had no support at all. But when you're that young, you're so stupid and foolish and naive. You think you can conquer the world. And I was so naive and innocent. I said, मैं तो भाग के ऐसे बन जाऊंगी एक्ट्रेस. जाट थी ना, देख कर लो क्या कर लोगे मेरा. मैं नहीं इन लोगों से दबने वाली. और मैं एक्चुअली भाग गई घर छोड़ के.
हाँ, पता है.
Consequences क्या होंगे उस उम्र में सोचा ही नहीं कुछ.
True.
Luckily everything worked out. But it has 2 sides to it. But I must say कि अभी भी लड़कियों को encourage नहीं करते फिल्म इंडस्ट्री में आने के लिए, especially from north of India, हरियाणा where I come from. डॉक्टर बन जाओ, ये करो, इंजीनियर बन जाओ, ये सब. टीचर तो बेस्ट है. टीचर का जॉब मिल गया, बैंक का जॉब मिल गया तो पेरेंट्स बहुत खुश हैं. लड़का अच्छा मिलेगा, शादी अच्छी होगी. एक्ट्रेस के नाम से ही उनको, they are very afraid actually.
But you are also, I have read an interview of yours where you said that had you not run away from home to pursue your dreams, आपकी शादी कहीं पे करवा देते या फिर आपकी मर्जी के बिना, जो होता भी है आज के ज़माने में, शायद परसेंटेज थोड़ा कम हो गया है पर आज भी होता ही होगा कहीं ना कहीं इंडिया में. एंड you've been a vocal activist for women rights. So how do you see yourself then and now? Do you feel like happy कि मैंने वो कर लिया, नहीं तो पता नहीं आप कहाँ होती आज?
I think it's so important to follow your dreams. नहीं तो लड़कियां क्या है ना, अपने देश में स्पेशली ऐसे ही घुट के अंदर से कॉम्प्रोमाइज करती रहती हैं. अपने लिए नहीं जीती, परिवार के लिए जीती हैं और इसमें कोई बुराई नहीं है. बट कहीं ना कहीं अपने लिए भी जीना चाहिए, खुद के सपने भी पूरे करने चाहिए. बिकॉज इफ यू आर हैप्पी यू विल मेक एवरीबडी अराउंड यू हैप्पी. और मैं तो बहुत बोल्ड थी, बिंदास थी. जाट हूँ ना, मुझ में रिबेलियन बहुत था. तो मेरे माँ बाप मुझे बोलते थे ये मत पहनो, शाम को अंधेरा होने के बाद घर से बाहर मत रहो. और मेरा भाई, उसको सब फ्रीडम मिलती थी. तो मुझे लगता था इतना फर्क क्यों करते हैं ये लड़का लड़की में और मुझ में, ऐसे क्यों है? And I questioned it because very early on in life I read Vivekananda, and he in his books he says you must question everything. An intelligent mind questions everything. And I started questioning all these norms which patriarchy has set to control women. and I didn't find the answers. I didn't like the answers, so I ran away. ऐसे देखी जाएगी.
But when you came here, it was a difficult time, right? Because you run away from home. There's a financial independence that you want, but you don't have the finances to have that independence as well.
Right.
Was it difficult the first few years before you got your first break financially, and like where did you stay? Because Bombay can be ruthless, you know. Even when I came here, it was ruthless for me as well in the beginning. कि मुझे पता ही नहीं था कि कहाँ रहूँ, and the rent is so high. So were there any difficulties in that space?
You know, more money. I've always had money because I had a lot of jewelry which I sold and financed my trip to Bombay. But more than that, it was emotional distress for me. The drama with the family, and my father disapproving and saying I disown you, and my mother being heartbroken. There was a rift in the family. That caused a lot of heartbreak from me. And of course, when you come to a big city like Bombay, it takes a while to absorb the culture, settle down. But I settled quickly.
In the
इतना ज़्यादा struggle, financially hardships इतने नहीं थे पर इतने नहीं थे. I could manage.
Emotional struggle.
Emotional ज़्यादा था.
Yeah, because you know, at such a young age, if your father, I have read that he disowned you, and that's why you decided to change your name from Rima Lamba to Mallika Sherawat. Everybody thought that, oh, you're using a screen name just to grab attention in the beginning.
Right.
I've read those stories also, but nobody knew your story, you know, it's been untold. Would you like to say something about that? Why did you decide to like change the name? Is it only because of that?
It was my rebellion against patriarchy, because my father said ये फिल्मों में जाएगी, परिवार का नाम खराब करेगी, मैं तेरे को डिसोन करता हूँ. मैंने कहा मैं तुम्हारा नाम ही डिसोन करती हूँ, तुम क्या मुझे डिसोन करोगे? ठीक है, you're my dad, I respect you, I love you. मैं अपनी माँ का नाम यूज करूँगी. So I used Sherawat. It's my mother's name.
But you know, Mallika, what you did, like I started, what you did 15, 16 years ago.
अरे तुम तो ऐसे बोल रहे जैसे मैं बुजुर्ग हो
गई.
15, 16 years ago.
Because you were a teenager that time, and that time you were taking these choices, making these choices in life. What I want to say is that there's a movie, Dirty Picture. Have you watched it?
Yes.
So वहाँ पे अंजू महिंद्रू who plays.
I love the movie.
Yeah, there's a dialogue which she gives to विद्या बालन कि आज जो तुम कर रही हो वो बगावत है, कल को इसी को लोग आजादी कहेंगे. You have battle perception also at that point of being a certain person for the way you dressed, for the way you spoke, and for what you spoke, what you represented. Today, I think women don't. There are women who do go through all of that, but the amount is less because of people like you. Do you see that change, and how do you look back at those days when people actually judged you? There was social judgment at every given point in your life.
Yes, you're absolutely right. There was a lot of judgment that she's no morals, she's a fallen woman. देखो फिल्मों में कैसे कैसे सीन देती है, किस करती है, अरे तो बिकिनी पहनी है, this and that. But you know, it's all a part of an experience. It's all a part of life, and I'm really happy कि society में बहुत growth हुई है. People have become more tolerant. Today, frontal nudity is no big deal. There are actresses on OTT who are doing frontal nudity, and they're saying, and you know, it's very artistic. There is nothing vulgar about it. So, of course, there has been a tremendous change, and I'm really happy to see that change.
You know,
judgments are less.
Absolutely, because an OTT is a platform where I would say that these kind of aesthetics have been celebrated and not shamed.
Right.
Like it was maybe मतलब murder में I understand it was in a bold space, but it was still not what we see on OTT today, and what the kind of content we get internationally as well, and it's accepted. How do you see the difference? Do you feel that OTT has leveled, because your show Naqab is also coming on an OTT platform? So do you feel that OTT has given everybody a level playing field that way?
I absolutely, and more than that, especially महिलाओं के लिए, जो महिलाएं हैं, अभिनेत्रियों के लिए OTT बहुत अच्छा हुआ है. आप डेली क्राइम को देखिए. शिफाली जो है, शिफाली शाह, she is headlining a series at that age. एक मेन स्ट्रीम बॉलीवुड फिल्म में कोई चांस ही नहीं है कि हो जाए. आई फील मेन स्ट्रीम बॉलीवुड फिल्म्स आर वेरी फॉर्मूलेइक. वो एक सेट फॉर्मूला फॉलो करते हैं, एंड दैट वर्क्स फॉर देम एंड दैट डजंट वर्क फॉर देम, एंड आई डिड इट. द फॉर्मूला वर्कड फॉर मी ब्रिलियंटली. इट गेव मी एवरीथिंग, बट आई प्रेफर OTT. अभी नकाब देखिए, मैं जोरा का कैरेक्टर निभा रही हूँ. शी इज अ रूथलेस एम्बिशियस वुमन. शी इज अ टीवी प्रोड्यूसर. शी हैज नो मॉरल्स. वो अपने हिसाब से जिंदगी जीती है. लोग उसके बारे में क्या कह रहे हैं, उसको कुछ लेना देना नहीं है. अभी एक्टर की एक डेथ हो गई है, तो you know, she is involved in it, not involved in it, what people think. She is not bothered about people's perceptions about her.
But at any given point, did people's perception bother you?
No.
Because constantly so many things were written about you. कभी वो low phase, low day नहीं आया? मतलब हर किसी के दिल में होता है.
A certain section of the media was really, they bullied me and they harassed me, and that really bothered me, because, and most of them were women. Men have never had problems with me.
Yeah.
Men have always appreciated me. And I couldn't understand why are these women so against me and so nasty to me. And that made me leave the country for a while because
Yeah.
I wanted a break. But today they are more accepting of me and they are more loving, which I'm really enjoying.
You know, when you talk about Bombay and the film industry at large, and not just the film industry, society at large actually, I shouldn't say only film industry in particular, नकाब तो सब पहने हुए हैं.
हाँ.
मतलब it's very difficult today to find out which is the real face of a person. And
Right.
And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, you meet so many fake people. By the time you meet ninth one, you find the ninth person fake. By the time you find the 10th person who might be genuine, you already perceive him or her to be fake because you've already had that kind of experience. Have you, like, how did you deal with fake people? Because throughout your life, professionally, personally, you must have had these people, you know, in different parts of your life, like part of your life.
I never let them influence me. You see, I've always lived on my own terms. I've done films on my own terms. I haven't worked with any of the bigger stars or anything because I wanted to live and do my work on my own terms. बहुत बड़ी फिल्में मुझे नहीं मिली, बहुत से रोल्स भी मुझसे छूट गए, किसी की गर्लफ्रेंड को चला गया, किसी की भतीजी को चला गया, whatever. I didn't care. I was like, I'm not going to compromise on my morals. I'm not going to compromise on my principles. This is how I am and this is how I want to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm more comfortable that way.
But at any given point, do you feel that people try to take, because there was a perception about you in the media and in the industry because you did a certain type of roles and you were typecasted, which is unfortunately not the same today, thankfully, because of what we are consuming. Do you feel that somewhere people try to, like men in the industry, you've been a strong, voice for women rights? Many women go through that. Many men also go through that, where people actually are provocative and people try to sexually proposition people who have dreams. Have you faced any of that in life, and how did you deal with it if you did?
I haven't faced too much of it, but of course, little bit of it I have. But I think they were all intimidated by me or scared of me. मुझे proposition करने से पहले वो लोग मेरे ख्याल से nervous से हो जाते थे, because the perception was also that she's bold.
And she'll give it back.
She'll give it back. इसके जो मन में आएगा ये बोल देगी. You know, she's not a very शर्मीली, डरी हुई सी लड़की नहीं है. So that my image also helped me in a certain manner.
But at that given point, indirectly, because a woman always realizes, I always feel like women around me realize the vibe of people better than men. Did you realize that? Did you like try to stay away from it?
I've always, because all this happens when you put yourself in that position, I feel. I didn't go to Bollywood parties. I didn't meet any producer or director at night in a hotel room or at night in the office. I kept myself away and I thought, जो मेरी किस्मत में है वो मेरे पास आएगा. I don't need to do all these things. किस लिए? Why?
There was also a given point, like today Naqab has you in a very different role. When I watched the promo, I was like pleasantly surprised, because we really don't know if you are the hero, you're the villain. It's very difficult to it's a middle ground, and you don't know which path you might fall on. There are different roles you've done in your life, whether it's a Pyar Ke Side Effects or a Welcome. Do you feel that people overlooked all of it?
Definitely, because I think the glamour part got more exaggerated and the acting part got minimalized. Because no movie can really do well if it's not a good movie. And I really feel that Welcome was a good movie, Murder was a good movie, Pyar Ke Side Effects, Das Avataram, I have the film with Jackie Chan, So I have done good films, but glamour part was always there. It was always what she's wearing in Cannes, and that was talked about rather than the role and the acting, which is fine. A lot of actors go through it. But now with OTT, it's really changing. I just did a film with Rajat Kapoor called RK. उसमें भी बहुत बेहतरीन रोल है. गुलाबों में प्ले कर रही